Today we've got a little fryer battle. Today we're going to compare and contrast a FryDaddy with a Cuisinart Compact Fryer. Small footprint, small fryers, economical price, but you can actually produce some pretty darn delicious food with either of these. Let's see if one might be better or worse for you. Okay, welcome to Uncle Scott's Kitchen. I want to say right up front that I bought both of these fryers with my own money. Neither were provided for any kind of promotional purposes. Opinions are my own. I've had both of these for a while, been doing a lot of cooking in them, and right up front I want to say that you can produce delicious food in a small fryer. Been cooking a lot of good food in these guys. What we're going to do is kind of go through a high level look at their stats and features and compare and contrast them and show you some of the things I've cooked and where one might be a little bit better than the other in different categories. Now at a high level, the FryDaddy, I paid roughly $40 or so for this one. It's got a handle, you kind of lift it up. It's almost like a bucket, something my kid might want to take to the beach when we occasionally go to the beach. You can store oil in the fryer, that's nice. And it comes with a scoop, getting your food in and out. And after your unit has cooled down, it also has this plastic lid. If you're storing your oil in there, that kind of helps with the storage. Now the Cuisinart, on the other hand, has quite a few more features. Now it costs $52, so roughly 25% more than this one, but in real terms, $10 to $15 more. So if you're kind of in the economical end of the market, I know money's tight these days with the hyperinflation. If you got $40 or so for a fryer, that's in this range. This one's $50 or so. But you get a lot more features for it. The main thing here is you get an adjustable thermostat. You get some temperature control. The FryDaddy is one size fits all. You put your oil in there, you plug it in, and it's on. And my testing with my Thermopin 1 shows that this one goes to about 380, 385 degrees if you let it preheat 15 minutes as called for in the instructions. The Cuisinart, it says it goes to 375 degrees. My testing here at home, I have never gotten this thing to 375 degrees. Now it says it takes about 10 minutes to preheat. You put your oil in there, I let it preheat 10 minutes. And the last time I checked, it was about 355 degrees when I had the thermostat cranked up to 375. So that seemed a little bit squirrely there, off by about 20 degrees. I fried some food. Between batches, I always let the temperature of the fryer rebound. Before I put in that second batch of food the other day, I checked the temperature again and it was at 369 degrees. So almost up there in that 375 range, but I've never actually got a reading at 375. So I think the thermostat, nice to have, maybe a little bit squirrely on the Cuisinart. The Cuisinart comes with a basket. Now this is an actual frying basket. It fits nicely in these. You can rest it on the lip here, and if you put food in here and lower it down into your oil, it also fits in these two grooves here. And what that's important for is that you can close this lid while you're cooking. On the FryDaddy, this lid is not used during the cooking process, so you can get a lot of steam or splattering, and it can be a little bit messier with the FryDaddy. You can put the lid down on the Cuisinart. Also in this lid, you can see there's a little viewfinder here. You can look down in there and see your food as it cooks. It also has a small charcoal filter and vent screen here. And although it wasn't really dramatic, that does kind of help a little bit in mitigating some of the steam, and they say some of the odors. I couldn't really tell much difference there. But it didn't seem to be as much steam coming out when I used the filter here in the Cuisinart. Now let's drill down a little bit on the thermostat or lack of thermostat and the cooking temperatures between these two units. This is actually one of the biggest differences and a really big deal here. This FryDaddy, mine cooks at about 380 to 385 degrees. That is relatively hot for frying at home. Now why is that a big deal? I have a theory on this, why this one is set this high. I think a lot of people, and I'm not judging here because I'm right in this camp too, I make a lot of frozen foods from the supermarket, Ore-Ida fries, tater tots, chicken nuggets, those type things that go directly from a freezer, they're frozen, into the hot oil. I think maybe this FryDaddy is set at a higher temperature because that's what a lot of people use a FryDaddy for. And if you're starting at a higher temperature level and you put in frozen food, the oil is not going to drop down to as low a temperature as maybe with a unit like this that doesn't go up quite that high. So this one might be a little bit better for some of those frozen packaged goods from the supermarket that we all use. I like a tater tot. Not afraid to admit that. Now the downside to cooking that high is with the fresher foods. For the fresher foods, I like the Cuisinart a little bit better. For example, for these hand-cut French fries, these I cook twice. I par cook them for 3-4 minutes or so at a lower temperature, 300 to 325. I take them out and let them rest. And then I crank up the heat up to 375, even though it doesn't go quite there. And then put those back in and cook them a second time at a higher temperature. Cooking things twice using different temperatures, you can do that with the Cuisinart. You cannot do that with the FryDaddy. That also is important when you do things like cook raw chicken, fresh chicken. With these chicken tenders, I cook some in each fryer, marinated those in some buttermilk, hot sauce, and salt, then hand breaded those. And here I got a couple of points I want to make. I thought just getting them down in the fryer and keeping an eye on them in the FryDaddy was a little bit more difficult than laying them out in the Cuisinart. A little bit easier to see and a little bit easier to get tongs down in this one. With the chicken tenders in the FryDaddy at that higher oil temperature, I thought the exteriors started getting a little bit dark and done at around 2 minutes or so, but the interiors were not up to temperature. Very important to temp a few of these with a meat thermometer. Make sure your raw chicken is up to temperature before you serve it. So I had to mitigate that by kind of taking the chicken tenders out for a few minutes, then sticking them back in. With the Cuisinart, I could start the fryer at a lower temperature. And if I did that, after about 3.5 minutes, the chicken tenders were done nicely on the outside and the interiors were up to temp. So you can cook them a little bit lower and slower in the Cuisinart, and I thought that turned out a little bit better. As far as capacity, they are roughly equivalent, but there are a few minor differences. I want to clear up a little bit of confusion here. The FryDaddy is a 4-cup, 1-quart fryer. The Cuisinart, every place I've seen it online, every retailer says this is a 1.1 liter fryer. That is actually not correct. If you look at the instruction manual and the box, this is a 1 liter fryer. And I think the confusion comes down to the old metric versus British versus US measurement systems here. I don't want to get that whole debate started again. But in the United States, a liter is more than a quart. Remember that. A liter is more than a quart. A liter, if you use round numbers, is roughly 1.06 quarts. And if you round it off, 1.1 quarts. I think someone in the description, maybe at Cuisinart themselves, because it's on almost all the e-commerce sites, transpose this and says this is a 1.1 liter fryer. It's really a 1.1 quart fryer. 1 liter, 1.1 quarts. You can go look it up if you want. But for normal people doing some home cooking, they're roughly equivalent. There may be a tablespoon or two of difference in oil capacity between the two, but roughly equivalent for our purposes. Now, who might be in the market for a fryer in this category? Well, somebody that has a small apartment, somebody for whom counter space is very important. I'm down here in the man cave in the basement kitchen. Counter space is at a premium. Having a smaller fryer with a small footprint is the way to go for me down here. As far as size, the Cuisinart roughly the size of a 2-slice toaster. The old FryDaddy is a little more cylindrical and a little bit taller, but both have a very small footprint. As far as cleanup, let's take a quick look at that. The lid on the Cuisinart is removable. This stuff can go in the dishwasher. Well, the charcoal filter can't go in the dishwasher. The rest of it can go in the dishwasher. Both of these, the oil hoppers and the heating coils, they're all integrated. It's all one unit. If you look at a bigger fryer, for example, this Cuisinart, which is kind of a bigger brother to this guy, these have removable heating elements, and removable oil hoppers, and they kind of sit down inside a relatively hollow housing. So you can kind of take those apart and clean them. These are all one unit. And you can't stick these parts in the dishwasher. You also can't immerse them in water in the sink. You just have to be a little careful when you're cleaning these. I pour the oil out and I wipe it out with, wash it with a sponge and dish soap. But you just got to be careful as you're rinsing them. Rinse them very carefully and only get water down inside here. Don't get the entire units wet. Now, as far as declaring a winner in our little fryer battle here, really it's going to depend. If you are in the market for a smaller, more economical fryer, which one should you go with? Well, if you've got 40 bucks, if somewhere around $40 is your budget for a fryer, or you primarily make consumer packaged goods, things like tater tots, Ore-Ida fries, chicken nuggets, frozen food from the supermarket, and just want simplicity, then the FryDaddy is a great way to go. If you tend to cook more fresh food, if you hand dip and bread your own chicken tenders, if you like to do hand cut French fries, if you like to double cook anything, par cook it, and then cook it later a second time at a higher temperature, then the Cuisinart is the way to go. Also, if you got an extra 10 or 15 bucks above the $40 for the FryDaddy, I think you get a lot more features with the Cuisinart. You get the indicator lights, you get the temperature control, the filtration in the lid, and you get a basket. If you can swing a little bit extra money, I like the Cuisinart. Regardless, don't let the small size and stature of the small fryers fool you. You can actually produce some delicious food with either one. I like them both. I bought them both with my own money, and if I had it to do over, I would buy another of each again. I like both of these guys. Now look somewhere on the screen for links to other videos you might find fun and helpful. Thank you for watching. We'll see you again next time on Uncle Scott's Kitchen.